What due diligence
People are
step did
weird.
you get stuck on? Right? What was some of the due diligence that you got stuck
Yeah.
on that some people take for granted, or something that's a new person you say, guys, you're gonna get stuck here.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think the paper of it all is very something that, like I said, you're reading these documents and they can look very different how they structure them, and they might have different clauses in them. And so, preparing to like see what actual like late fees and is there servicing in this note, all of that. And so, those are things that, might catch somebody up, especially not knowing what to look for and having original documentation. I think those things are very important, just in case something does happen. So, you can think about the borrower, and I think those are kind of, for me, that's like a good thing. And we have a lot of different tools on internet and things to
Yeah.
kind of do property evaluation and stuff. But that paperwork could be like eye opening.
Absolutely. That's a great point because
Yeah.
we spend a lot of time talking about the property and the borrower, but
Yep.
what we're buying is the paper.
Yep. Yep.
That's actually the thing that we end up with. So if it's not done correctly, if it's done poorly, or if it's whatever, it's missing that or this, and we're missing an allonge along the way or something like that, like
Yeah.
that can really mess things up. And so make sure you know what that paper should be and what it should be looking like.
And it's funny,
Yeah.
today's a little different than when we got first started. I would
Yeah.
get collateral in 2012, and we had 6 allonges or assignments we had to
Yeah.
record. And it's like, holy goodness, I record all these, and maybe one's missing. Or you send it to the county records and they will put it out of order. And all these kind of things, that's changed over time. Now you're only recording one now, which is more beneficial because it's not being sold as often. You did mention before, and before we got the call, you did, but what are you primarily looking to buy? What are your focus around?
Yeah, so since I was kind of trying to replace my income, and so that was kind of like the goal was either, replacing my income and then paying off my student loan debt. I was primarily focused on performing in first position notes, and so that's kind of where I've been in this game for those years, and so that's kind of where I land in my performance and notes.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually when you got started. That's good timing to
Yes.
transition into that. That's right about when
Yep.
non-performing was kind of petering off and performing was taking off. So great timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I actually didn't know a lot of people who were doing not performing. So, I guess it kind of like happens with the season that I'm learning about the different market shifts. So, that's kind of the only thing that I knew then, and kind of just stuck with that path.
Were you nervous about dealing with servicers or attorneys? We're not dealing with too many non-performers, so you're not dealing with attorneys so often, but was it a learning curve transitioning and learning all these different worlds and sectors?
Yeah, so absolutely. Yeah. So servicers as well as, working with some attorneys, like coming from a lot of the different things that you do see is like you manage everything and do those things, and you just, do the thing that you're supposed to do. But actually, there's servicers in place, and working with them and understanding those a little bit better. I didn't start that way, but I gradually like, oh, this is what, the proper way to do. So again, that learning experience, drifting to self-management, then to servicing, was really big deal for me. And it kind of like made me like, oh yeah, this is a thing to do compliant. So starting out was like, oh, just trying to figure it out. But now it's like more, okay, what are the actual things that I need to be doing in a better way?
So maybe you started with a contract for deed. Maybe you can kind of settle a debate for us.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you still interested in contracts for deeds, seeing as how you've done them now? And
yeah, I still buy them. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
See, Dave.
I just
Yeah. So
I'm a fan.
I think for me, and I will say I have two reasons. I say I'm young. I'm a little risky. I like a little challenge. I'm not gonna lie. So I like a little bit of risky, but I definitely like the structure. I definitely have a mix, but I have no problem with them. I'm not afraid of them. So
for those who don't know, we're talking about
to.
contract for deeds is someone where literally what the words say, You have a contract, and then they're paying you, and once the contract's done and paid off, they get the deed then. Kind of similar to a car financing. Time for
Sort of like a
deed,
rent to own
rent
ish.
Yeah.
only, not lease option is a little different. But then there's different terms. But that's generally the speaking where a mortgage or deed of trust is you get the deed up front when you buy it.
Mhm.
So that's the big difference. In some states, in Ohio, Indiana, where if you pay off 20% or 5 years, it forecloses just like any other, mortgage or deed of trust, which is, takes away that benefit of being a contract for deed
Mhm.
in those kind of aspects.